Well, welcome to the fourth section of the teacher work sample, where we're going to reflect on what happened in the unit. And here we're going to look at four things: the most successful activities, the least successful activities, how you communicated with various publics such as the parents, other teachers, and your students, and then briefly look at some goals for the future. So looking at the first section in our fourth section, part A, you're going to provide sort of a narrative description of two of the objectives that you felt were learned, and give at least a couple of reasons why you felt that those objectives were taught. And you can use data, you can use observation, you can use whatever you choose, but give us some reasons why objective one or two of the objectives were met. And then maybe two things that you would do in the future to maybe make it even more successful. So in part A, you'll look at your most successful objectives and its implications for future teaching. And it typically looks like this. They're not real long. But it'll always end with, after you've talked about your reasons why it was successful, what might you do differently to make it even better there at the end. In part B, we'll do the opposite. What two objectives did you feel were least successful? Provide some possible reasons for that happening. You can look at basically subgroups to a whole host of reasons, but look at least two objectives that weren't met and what you might do differently in the future to improve. What would change next time you taught this unit. And again, it typically looks like this. Not a whole lot of writing, but it'd be brief and concise as to why it was your least successful and what you would do to change it. In table 4, following that in part C, you record your communication log. That is who you talk to during the unit, what other teachers, especially if you integrated curriculum, did you call any parents or send an email home? How did you communicate with parents, especially if your kid in a formative test wasn't doing well, or if you talked to any counselors or administrators, and especially students. What students did you talk to one-on-one for any reason to help them make them more successful? So just reflect upon how the communication basically within all of the publics of your school attributed to or helped your unit. So reflect upon your communication. And then in that log, typically tell us the method of contact, the reason you did it, and what impact it might have had on your unit or the success. And then in part C, kind of share with us how all those came together, that communication did affect your unit. Finally, you'll look at what you're going to do to make your unit better. What two aspects of instruction would you improve? And maybe what are you going to need to do that? What professional development opportunities, or what you're going to need to acquire to maybe even make it better. And you can talk about your books or websites or videos or whatever you think might work to help you get a new knowledge or a new material to make those two items the possibility to improve. Typically these look like this. They're not real long, but a lot of times for beginning teachers it has to do with discipline. What might they change in the rules or procedures or the things you did to manage the delivery of the lesson. So they come in all different types of ways when you read the different work samples. You're just get a lot of ideas as you look at the different ones. If you don't get to teach your lesson, we're going to ask that you kind of dream here, because we gave you the data of what students did well, what didn't. You have some formative as well as pre and post data. So looking at that, you might say that student 2 or student 3 didn't do well, and describe what you might change. You could also talk about, just describe how you might notify parents in your communication log. And this part we kind of just make up, and we give you some suggestions in the addendum how you might handle each of those types of things, but we do want you to fill out all of the areas. You just might be making quite a lot of it up. So, and that's no problem. Again, that's more of the ideas in that addendum that they're going to give you to reflect upon your lesson, how you might analyze the different subgroups. So basically, next time we're going to look at the appendix. What might you include and have to include, and give you some different perspective what they might look like as you develop your appendix. So goodbye for now.